Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. So yeah, in this video I'm just going to go through all of the releases that I picked up for October 2023. There's not a huge amount this month, although that being said, a lot of these releases were a bit on the pricey side. I think most of them are pretty much like boutique releases. So I think I kind of went for quality over quantity this month. And yeah, literally everything that I've picked up is horror related. Obviously October being, spooky season. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. So first of all, I've actually got a record to show first. This is a brand new release from Sacred Bones, and it is the John Carpenter Anthology 2 collection. So this is basically a collection of John Carpenter themes from some of his movies. But they've been re-recorded by John Carpenter himself, along with his son Cody and his godson Daniel Davies. And this is mainly comprised of some of his lesser-known themes. So there's a lot of tracks from like Halloween 3, Halloween 2, some of the lesser-known themes from They Live, Prince of Darkness, and The Thing, all sorts of movies like that. But yeah, it's just a lovely release. The inner sleeve is really nice as well. Got all these sort of pictures from behind the scenes on numerous John Carpenter movies over the years. And then the vinyl disc itself is very nice. It's like, I think they described it as like a They Live blue colour, but it was limited to 500 copies. But yeah, if you're a John Carpenter fan, I would definitely recommend picking up this release, as well as the first Anthology soundtrack. But yeah, that is John Carpenter's Anthology 2. So on to the Blu-rays first, and the first one we have here is Halloween Ends. So yeah, this is the third part in the recent Halloween trilogy that we got. I mainly just got this because it was on sale on Amazon. I didn't own it in the collection. I did see this movie when it came out in the cinemas, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I know it's the story in this one is very controversial amongst fans. That wasn't necessarily what bothered me about the film. I just kind of felt the film itself wasn't executed that well. But I'm willing to give it another go. I don't know when I'm going to get round to rewatching it, because obviously Halloween is past now. But I'll get round to rewatching it again soon. But yeah, that is Halloween Ends. Next up, we have a new release from 88 Films, and we have The Magic Crystal. Yeah, this is like a Hong Kong action comedy with Andy Lau and the great Cynthia Rothrock. It's kind of got a weird mix of like Hong Kong action comedy, as well as some mystical aspects, kind of like E.T., and then the sort of the finale to this movie feels very Indiana Jones, kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, I thought this movie was decent. It wasn't one of the best ones that I've picked up from 88 Films, but it was a pretty fun movie. It was released in the 80s, and it's got some fun fight scenes, some funny moments. The plot was maybe just a little bit too out there for me, but overall it was pretty decent. But yeah, that is The Magic Crystal. And the last Blu-ray pickup for this month is something I've only just recently received in the last couple of days. This was released a couple of weeks ago, I think, but HMV were a bit delayed in sending it to me, because I think I was probably one of the last people to manage to secure a copy of this. It's a new release from Radiance Films, and it's Messiah of Evil. I do not know anything about this movie, but I read about it and it sounded great. It's a horror movie from the early 70s. I think it's about this woman who travels to this little seaside town in search of her father, who's gone missing. And then when she gets there, she finds that the town is not what it seems. I think it's meant to have sort of like a Night of the Living Dead zombie or vampire kind of vibe to it. But apparently this movie has such a huge cult following, so I'm really looking forward to checking it out. But yeah, that is Messiah of Evil. Right, so on to the 4Ks now, and there are quite a few that I've picked up this month. And the first one we have is Scream 2. Yeah, I mainly picked this up because it was on sale on Amazon. I've been slowly upgrading the Scream movies to 4K. I know the third one came out fairly recently. I will get that, but I'll probably wait until it goes a bit cheaper. But Scream 2 itself, I really like this film. I think it's a fantastic sequel. It does everything that a sequel should. It's in that it's bigger, it's more gory, there's a lot more tension, there's more characters. It's basically just a bigger movie, not necessarily a better movie than the first one, but just a really, really solid sequel. I especially love the opening sequence to this film. I like how they don't try to replicate the opening sequence to the first film. They basically just do the complete opposite. And yeah, I absolutely love what they do with it. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic sequel, and I've heard it looks great on 4K. Haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But yeah, I remember the Blu-ray to this and most of the other Scream movies. The quality isn't that great, so I'm looking forward to slowly checking them all out again on 4K. But yeah, that is Scream 2. Next up, I have a few pickups from Scream Factory. Yeah, I've been on a bit of a Scream Factory kick this past month, and my wallet has definitely paid the price for it. But I'm really glad to own all of these. Pretty much all of them are movies I've seen. Some of them are upgrades, but yeah, I definitely wanted to have them all. And the first one we have is The Blob. So this is actually one of the more recent releases from Scream Factory. This is the 4K release. Yeah, this is a fantastic, horror remake from the 80s. Just a great sort of creature feature with, all those great practical effects. That small town setting, some great characters in there, and yeah, it's just such a blast, this movie, and I can't wait to check it out again. I've heard the 4K looks really nice, so yeah, that is The Blob. Next up from Scream Factory, we have My Bloody Valentine, and yeah, this is such an underrated slasher from the early 80s, I think it was 1981. Basically, the slasher set on Valentine's Day, and it involves this mine, and the killer is dressed up sort of like a miner. He uses a pickaxe as his weapon. And yeah, this is just a great sort of atmospheric slasher movie. This is the movie in its most uncut form, because I think the movie was like cut to shreds when it first came out. And yeah, there are some very gory moments in this film, and it has a great ending, like such a chilling ending. But yeah, I really, really enjoy this movie, and that is My Bloody Valentine. Next up from Scream Factory, we have Creepshow on 4K, and yeah, this was an upgrade for me because Creepshow is just one of my all-time favourite horror movies. Again, just one of those great horror movies from the 80s that has all the great practical effects in there, great cast. I love the different anthology stories in this movie. You've got George A. Romero directing the film. You've got the involvement of Stephen King. You've got the involvement of Tom Savini. You've just got so many great masters of horror in there. And I just love how this movie evokes that classic comic book 1950s vibe. Yeah, it's just such a great movie, like aesthetically great and so much fun. And that is Creepshow. Next up from Scream Factory, we have Dead Silence, and yeah, this is a movie that I have seen before, but I didn't own it in the collection, and I've always wanted to get this 4K release from them. This is a movie from James Wan. It was the first film he made after Saw, but at the time it came out, it didn't really do that well critically and commercially, but over the years, I think it's amassed a bit of a cult following. And yeah, I think this is a great horror movie, very creepy, very unsettling, very atmospheric, and it almost feels a little bit like a precursor to some of James Wan's other films. Obviously, you've got a dummy in this movie, which is very similar to the doll of Annabelle from The Conjuring. There's also this old woman ghost in the film who resembles an old woman character from Insidious. So yeah, it's got a lot of similarities to some of James Wan's other films. But yeah, like I said, this is just a really fun horror movie, very creepy in places, and it has a great twist. The twist is a little bit far-fetched, but it's still a very, very surprising twist. And it's one of those twists that when you watch the movie again, you realise how obvious it is. But when you watch the movie for the first time, it completely takes you by surprise. But yeah, it's such a great horror movie. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. And that is Dead Silence. And then my last pickup from Scream Factory is Return of the Living Dead. And yeah, again, this was an upgrade for me. Again, this is one of my all-time favourite horror movies. Another one from the 80s that just has great practical effects. But what I love about this movie is it is just one of the most entertaining films I've ever seen. It is just so much fun. I love how chaotic this movie is. I just love how all of the characters react to all of the things that are going on around them. You know, the dead coming back to life, and just some of the situations they get in. It is just such a fun movie. It's probably more of a comedy than a horror, but yeah, like I said, it is just so much fun, and I would definitely recommend it. So that is The Return of the Living Dead. And then for my last pickup for October, we have a new release from Arrow Video, and we have the Hellraiser Quartet of Torment 4K box set. This is the 4K set, which has the first 4 Hellraiser movies, and I opted to get the Chatterer edition of the box set, which I think was exclusive to the Arrow website. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Hellraiser, particularly the first one. I just think it is such a unique horror movie. It's so different, and it gets better every time I watch it. The second one is a decent sequel. It maybe delves a bit too much into the mythology for me. I prefer it when the Cenobites are a bit more mysterious, but it's still a really solid sequel. And the third one, I never used to like it, but on a rewatch, I had a much better time with it. It's maybe a bit more on the commercial side. It feels a bit sort of Americanized, if you like, but it's such a fun movie, I've got to admit. The fourth one is probably the weakest. I had only ever seen that one for the first time quite recently, and yeah, it's a bit of a flawed movie. I know it had a lot of production problems, and I know the director walked off the set and all that kind of stuff, and you can definitely feel it when you watch the movie, but it's okay. But the box set is lovely from Arrow. You get the 4 movies, you get this nice hardback book, and beautiful artwork. But yeah, fantastic set from Arrow Video, and that is the Hellraiser box set. So there you go, guys. Those are all my pickups for October 2023. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen any of these movies. Have you picked up any of these releases yourself? I would love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I'll leave the video there. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you all again on the next one. Take care, guys.